With the 2024 NFL Draft now fully complete, we know where players are going to go. We know what teams are planning to do, and we can start to finalize and look forward to the 53-man roster come the start of the 2024 NFL season. Guys, it was an exciting weekend. I took the whole week off for vacation to enjoy the draft, and I am so grateful to be done with draft season. It is my favorite time of year, but man, oh man, if you didn't watch any of the mock drafts I did, you can tell it gets a little stressful for me around here. So, guys, now we know who the Lions took, where we ended up taking them, and what Brad Holmes envisions for the future of this team. The question is, does Brad Holmes continue to have the Midas touch in every pick he makes, somehow becomes a contributing member of the Detroit Lions, and essentially just continues to pull gold with every single pick? Or will we finally see the downfall? Maybe he got too aggressive, tried to get too cute in some rounds, trying to trade up, get some guys. We don't know. We won't know until about this time next year, guys. But I got to tell you this. If you're going to go for one, you might as well go for two. So if you're going to take one guy and you got the exact same quality caliber player later on in the draft, why not double dip? We've seen Brad Holmes do it plenty of times in the NFL draft, namely most recently with Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Paschal. Now we're going to be looking at both Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. coming to the Detroit Lions. Solid pick. So, guys, in this video, we're just going to be doing a quick rundown, looking through our 6 picks that we made, and just kind of just skimming over the top of it. I ain't gonna give out no grades, man, because giving out grades is kind of silly. I ain't no teacher, man. I'm just a guy, man. I'm just in my garage talking about what I think we should have done and maybe what I think this will be for us. I think there's a lot of good here in this year's draft. I think Brad Holmes didn't outfox anybody, or at least didn't outfox himself, and made some sneaky moves that we're gonna talk about right here, right now on the Hat and Beard Show, guys. Oh, I'm so glad that the draft is over and now we can continue to talk about the future of the Detroit Lions, now knowing who's going to be in-house come fall next year. There might be a few free agent acquisitions, but hey, we'll address that when we get there. Let's just talk about our picks. This is the Hat and Beard Show. I'm Hat and Beard, here to say the quiet part out loud. Let's get into it, fellas.
We're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
All right, boys, as you can see here, we got the Detroit Free Press pulled up, breaking down. We've got rounds 1 through 6, all 6 picks that we were able to make listed right here on the board. Rounds 1, we're going to just get right cracking at it, guys. Watching night 1, watching as the draft unfolded and seeing the malarkey that happened with the Atlanta Falcons that just caused a ripple effect of nonsensory and tomfoolery to occur in the first round of the NFL draft really set up a scenario that I don't think any of us really could have even mocked out or tried to figure out, have it happen in the way that it happened with us. Thankfully, Miami took Chop Robinson off the board, so we didn't have to worry about that. But Terrion Arnold, boys, you guys know that heading into this year's draft, I had 2 guys slotted as first-round caliber wide receivers. Not just good players, but guys who I was like, yes, pull the trigger on these 2 corners if they're available in the first round. That was Quinyon Mitchell, but my overall best graded out corner in this year's draft was Mr. Terrion Arnold himself, who somehow just kept on falling. And I'm here for it, right? I was so ecstatic just to see this guy continue to slide. And then Brad Holmes, doing what Brad Holmes does best, wheeling and dealing on draft night, jumps directly ahead of Green Bay to the number 24 spot and takes the best overall corner in the draft. Terrion Arnold can cover. Terrion Arnold can tackle. All right. Both of these 2 guys really fit the Dan Campbell build that we're trying to go after. Like, especially with the change in the hip drop tackle, we need corners who are physical and can tackle players legally now. And when Aaron Glenn came to Detroit to become our defensive coordinator, he wanted to bring back violence and aggression in the NFL on defense, and that's exactly what Terrion Arnold and Rakestraw can do. Both these guys are solid tacklers, right? Do I think that Terrion Arnold comes in day one and is immediately slotted in as a starting corner? Yes, I totally do. I think he's better than Amik Robertson. He's more physical as a rookie, and he's obviously got a little bit bigger of a frame, longer arms, a little bit faster. Do I think he unseats Carlton Davis? Probably not, okay, just because he is a veteran, and we did have to give up a little bit of draft capital to go after him, but he also fits the build. Both of these guys are essentially basically the same style of player, physical, tough, in-your-face, gritty, hard-nosed defensive backs. We knew that our defensive backfield was our Achilles heel all season last year, and it ended up biting us at the worst possible time in the NFC Championship game. Now, I don't hold it against Kendall Vilder, but let's be real, bro. You had no business being in that game in that spot anymore, and Brad Holmes realizes this. He went after guys to address a problem, okay? He did draft according to need, but it wasn't a desperation need that we've been seeing in years past. This isn't the guy that we need to come in and just establish a new culture, turn the face around. That's what Penny Sewell and Aiden Hutchinson did. Now we're drafting guys who will bolster our team and complement the existing talent that is already there and maybe fill a need that we have to address. But we're not going to go out of our way, bend over backwards to try and make a square peg just fit that round hole, right? Terrion Arnold, when he came out onto the stage, he said it himself. I'm home. He turned around and he addressed the crowd. I'm home. He fits Detroit. This is going to be a rock solid, just beautiful pick. I absolutely love the Terrion Arnold pick, okay? And then you turn it around, okay? And you just sit tight through the second round, all the way back. You're just waiting. You're just seeing where everybody's falling, right? I'm stressing out. I'm watching Marshawn Nealon go off the board, right? I'm watching Frazier go off the board. I'm watching all these guys that I had been mocking to us for weeks now just go off the board, and I'm starting to get a little anxious, right? What are we going to do? Who are we going to go after? What does Brad Holmes have in his bag of tricks? Oh, he's just going to take the next highest graded corner on the board in Ennis Rakestraw Jr. Now, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. is nasty. He is a nasty bug, dude. He plays with his hair on fire. For being 5'11 and like 190 pounds, he likes to think he's 6'4", 250, and his name's Ray Lewis, right? Like, this guy is a Dan Campbell dude. Ennis Rakestraw Jr. could have gone to Alabama. And played with Terrion Arnold and Brian Branch. But Ennis Rakestraw Jr.'s cut from a slightly different cloth than most players, right? He's going to go ahead, and he opted to go to Missouri because he wanted to build something. He didn't want to just step in and continue a tradition. He wanted to be the building block for a college program to hang their hat on. He wanted to be that guy, right? And what kind of a guy does that say to Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell? Draft me. That's what it says. Draft me and draft me now. Ennis Rakestraw Jr., I'd have been happy taking him at 29, to be honest with you. I knew we needed corner. I hate drafting according to need. 29, though, he might have been I wouldn't have argued with it too hard, right? I wouldn't have argued too much with it because it would have been a slight reach. You probably could have traded back to like 34 and grabbed him, right? But I love that he slid. And then Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have said, look, fellers, let's just make the DB room better. Let's just make it better right now. And they pull the trigger. Ennis Rakestraw Jr. Love it. Love the first two picks. Beautiful, wonderful picks. Just immediately address, and again, not out of need, but address the weakest spot on the entire roster, right? Just immediately address the corners, not just the defensive backfield, because our safeties are pretty solid, right? Solid-ish, for being young. But we just went directly after the cornerback room, right? Just said, fuck it. We're gonna go get two relatively solid free agents. I know Carlton Davis we had to trade for, but relatively solid performing veteran corners. And then we're gonna draft two of the four best, highest rated corners on Hat and Beard's board, right? That's just absolutely awesome. I love the maneuvering right there. Then we start to get into the fourth round, right? Ooh, boy, the fourth round is when things get a little squirrely. I love what Brad Holmes is doing. Brad Holmes looks at third-round picks as just trade material, right? Just something that he can wheel and deal to get a nice package to maneuver around the draft board, because I don't think he's sat still in a draft in his entire tenure here with the Detroit Lions. He is constantly moving. He is utilizing his leverage of possible intel that he has on other teams' guys. He knows how to ask the right questions of GMs to be able to dig out what they're targeting so he can manipulate it and trade out with other people and just stick it to the Packers. Just stick it to the Packers for the third consecutive year in a row. Why do I say that? First year that we just dicked them was when we colluded with Minnesota to trade up from 32 to 12 to take J-Mo. The Packers were in love with J-Mo, and they wanted J-Mo real bad. Then last year we traded up again in front of the Packers to draft Brian Branch. This year we trade up in front of the Packers to draft Terrion Arnold. Brad Holmes loves to trade up in front of the Packers to take the Alabama players that the Packers wanted. It's awesome. It's becoming my new draft day tradition. I long for it. It's like Christmas Day, for real. I love sticking it to the pack, man. That's absolutely awesome.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
Hey, don't be a jive turkey. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Or don't.
I'm no punk bitch.
I ain't no punk bitch neither.
I'm no punk bitch.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
But in the fourth round, okay, Brad Holmes traded back up twice into the fourth round. The first time, two things. One, love the player, love the project, love the thought process that we're doing here, right? Justin Mailata, the tackle from Philly? I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head. That is all the upside to Giovanni Manu, right? That is all the upside. And all the downside is, oh, darn, you lost a fourth-round pick. He's a solid project player who's coming to a program, right? Coming to a franchise that has the best offensive line in football and one of the best offensive line coaches in football. Talk about a spot for a guy coming from British Columbia to transition into the league, to learn from the best, and maybe even get a little bit of seasoning as the season goes on, right? Maybe he can slide in and be that Dan Skipper swing tackle, big body guy, right? Maybe he eventually becomes that. Maybe next year, right? Just redshirt him this year, right? Maybe next year when Taylor Decker is no longer with the Detroit Lions because he's too expensive and getting older, and you move Penny from the right side to the left side, maybe Giovanni Manu is that guy to come in and be your right tackle for the next 6, 8, 10 years, right? How awesome could that be? And again, if it doesn't hit, you lost out on a fourth. Yeah, you traded a third next year to move up a little bit in the fourth, but again, Brad Holmes doesn't care about third-round picks, man. And if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of it, the way the NFL is set up with the minority advancement program for coaches and GMs, we're going to be getting conditional picks as our coaching staff continues to get pilfered away, as our front office continues to get poached away by other organizations, as they see what Brad Holmes has been able to do with not only rebuilding the Detroit Lions, but completely reinventing the way the NFL needs to approach the draft, okay? So we're getting these picks, but what I want to talk about but mainly overall, this Giovanni Manu pick, right? As you guys know, there are guest speakers that come out and introduce the pick after the first round, right? Fans of the year, Make-A-Wish kids, that type of stuff. Sometimes it's NFL executives, people involved with the community, that type of shit. But what was awesome was with it being in Detroit, Michigan, the NFL thought, hey, you know what? Why don't we have the governor of the state come on and announce the pick as she trotted out there trying to wear her Eddie Murphy, varsity Letterman jacket from Beverly Hills Cop, and with her stupid little sunglasses on with that stupid smile, that stupid fake smile that she's got. Stretching Gretchen comes toddling out onto the field. Here she comes. Here comes Stretching Gretchen. TikTok tells her that everybody loves me. I was almost the VP candidate. If Joe Biden hadn't slipped up and said a woman of color, it was going to be me. Look into it. She was supposed to be the vice president of the United States. But guess what, Gretchen? I'm going to tell you something real quick here, Stretching Gretchen right here. Guess what? Nobody likes you. Nobody's ever liked you. Your husband doesn't even like you. All the dudes that you were just straddling nonstop through college, look it up where she gets the name Stretching Gretchen from, y'all. She is a 304, if you know what I'm saying. She is just kind of a piece of work, right? And nobody likes you, and boy, did the NFL draft, everybody there, all the Michiganders, and I'm assuming other people who are in the know on the Michigan death toll numbers. Can we please ever get that released, Stretchin? Are we ever going to get an honest number on how many people Gretchen Whitmer unalived by forcing them into retirement homes when they were positive for the coof? How many people were directly impacted and lost their lives because of her mismanagement of a less than what it was really supposed to be pandemic, right? Like that whole thing was overblown in my entire opinion. It was a cold. But Stretch and Gretchen decided to do exactly what the Democrat Party told her to do and hyper overreact and just slaughter a ton of senior citizens by forcing them to be in close contact with people who are positive for the coof. And we know that virus specifically was very, very difficult for elderly people to handle, as is most viruses and illnesses and stuff. But still, she deliberately did that. So guess what, Gretchen? Nobody here likes you. No one here likes you. This doesn't bode well for November, okay? You were in Detroit. Wayne County is where all the mysterious ballots just show up in the middle of the night when you suddenly have a pipe break and you have to shut down the polling stations and literally boxes and boxes and boxes of just, what do you know? The exact number of votes.
All right, did you free yourself from millions of books and pictures? Ask yourself, what am I trying to do?
All right, sorry. Had to get that out of my system there, fellas. The next pick, 4th round, number 132 overall. Again, we traded back up into this to get this spot. Love the Sione Vaki pick. I don't know why everyone is listing him as a running back. Yeah, he played running back for a little bit sporadically in college. Yeah, he averaged over 7 yards a carry. He also worked out as a running back at the pre-workout or the pre-draft workouts. He also worked out as a wide receiver. He's a safety by trade. Look, man, he's a Dan Campbell guy. I was mocking Vaki to us a couple of different times. I love the Vaki play because we know that Dan Campbell loves ballers. He loves footballers, and he also loves guys that he can play in all over the field, right? That's kind of a trend with us. We like to have these multi-purpose players that can be put in different positions and succeed and not have it be an Achilles heel for us. What do I think Sione Vaki brings to us? I think Sione Vaki brings to us a little bit of depth to the defensive back room, right? Which we did need a little bit more help in. There are free agents that we can talk about, Justin Simmons, right? But Vaki, look here, with his nationally recognized ball handling skills on the offensive side of the ball and his ability to make plays as a defender. Obviously, he's a special teams master, right? He's going to be a special teams workhorse. And why do I love him at this pick? Because he adds depth, but you can also now realize that the minute he comes on the field, when Jack Fox comes on the field to punt the ball, there was already a 50% chance that we were going to fake it, right? Now, you have to play mind games with the opposing defense and special teams because now you're going to, Don't put Vaki out as a gunner. No, put him as the personal protector for the punter, right? Now you're real fucked if it's a direct snap to the up man because now it's not Jalen Reeves-Maben, a 8-year pro linebacker running the ball. It's a rookie out of Utah who averaged 7 yards a carry as a fill-in running back, right? So not only can he take the direct snap, oh shit, no, you're still going to punt it with the best punter in the league with Jack Fox, right? And then you've got this hard-running Jesse out of Utah who's just coming downfield 100 miles an hour, ready to wreck you, right? How awesome is that? This right here, the Sione Vaki pick was just, it was beautiful. I thought it was real I think this is a sneaky maneuver that Brad Holmes was able to accomplish. I love the pick a lot. I think it was exactly what we needed, and I think he is a jackknife player that will fit in real well with the Detroit Lions organization. 6th round is where we absolutely cleaned house. In the 6th round, Brad Holmes just absolutely cleaned house. Okay, look here. Mekhi Wingo, the only reason he slid out of day 2 was because he was a rotationary player at LSU after suffering an Achilles injury in 2022, right? This guy probably could have been on the back end of the 1st round, if not an early 2nd round pick, if he was healthy and had the maximum amount of snaps that he should have had his final year at LSU. He also opted to play in the bowl game, right? That's just a Dan Campbell guy. Wingo, yeah, he's only 285, right? That's not a big run-stuffing defender. But you know what he does have is he's got a motor in him that doesn't stop. You know who else was undersized and has a motor in him that doesn't stop? Kalijah Cansey. If you look at what we were able to do with Mekhi Wingo, he is a almost pound-for-pound replacement for Aleem McNeil. Not saying that we're not going to re-sign Aleem McNeil next year or whenever his contract's up, but what I am saying is as a rotationary player. Now, if Broderick Martin takes that step, right, you basically look at it from a hockey perspective. You got a line 1 and a line 2. At least we're just going to look at the defensive tackle room right now. So you have your first line. You got your DJ Reader and your Aleem McNeil. Big body bastard and a hyper athletic defensive tackle, right? And then on your second line, you got Broderick Martin and you got Mekhi Wingo, right? Broderick Martin, a big bodied run stuffing defender that can replace DJ Reader and spell him throughout the season as things, the fatigue kicks in, maybe an injury pops up, right? And then when Aleem McNeil's a little tuckered out or possibly injured, then you have almost a pound for pound replacement with Mekhi Wingo. And yeah, short arms, I don't care, man. The guy has a great first step. He is a powerhouse, just a hell of a punch on him when he gets engaged with the offensive line, man. I really thought Wingo was maybe the steal of the draft in the 6th round, right? Maybe, and if not for him, then we're definitely going to say Christian Mahogany. Christian Mahogany, 6th round pick. I had him at a 4th round grade heading into the draft, right? And you get him at 210 overall. Christian Mahogany, when I watch him play, he just reminds me of Jonah Jackson, right? So, yeah, you don't have to worry about him playing this year as a starter unless something happens injury-wise. You're going to go from left to right. You're going to go Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Kevin Zeitler, and Penei Sewell, right? Kevin Zeitler ain't getting no older. Graham Glasgow ain't getting no older. But boy, howdy, if there was a guard to learn from, wouldn't it want to be the all-pro, Pro Bowler, Kevin Zeitler, who's been in the league for like 100 years, right? Wouldn't you want to learn from that guy? So you get this big-bodied, just nasty offensive lineman. This is a big bastard, yo. He is a big, mean son of a bitch, and he can move bodies. He's quick on his feet for the size that he is. He excels in the screen game. I love this Christian Mahogany pick. I actually think he is going to be our starting right guard, barring injury, next year. I think you slot him in to just maybe pack on a couple pounds, learn the offensive system, learn the speed of the game at the NFL level, and he is going to be lock solid for 4 or 5 years, right? He is a pound-for-pound Jonah Jackson replacement. I absolutely love it. I think we killed it on the back half of the draft. I think we did a great job rounds 1, 2, and I would say 3, but we're gonna bump Giovanni Manu and say just 1, 2, 3, and just beautiful. First 2 rounds were just poetry in motion, right? Things worked out great. Everybody's hitting. Terrion Arnold's a perfect fit. Rakestraw's a perfect fit. It's awesome. Then you kind of reach a little bit, right? You're getting kind of out in the weeds, but considering you're not a franchise that's rebuilding and a single-digit draft pick, you're not, the top 5, you were in the NFC Championship game. When you're a team that is in the NFC title game, you can address positions of needs, but then you can take a swing on a Giovanni Manu, right? You can take a gamble. You can take a hyper-athletic player like a Sione Vaki, right? You can do these things, and then because you have Brad Holmes, who has just an insane ability to scout and recognize talent, you end up finding these gems, these absolute gems at the back end. This Mekhi Wingo and Christian Mahogany, just 2 guys ahead. Yeah. Honestly, I am very surprised that Wingo fell out of the 4th, 5th round, right? Like I that really did surprise me when I seen that we took him. That I couldn't believe it, because I think his athletic ability is far greater than his draft stock, right? Or his draft position. He was easily a 4th round talented player, even with the injury and the rotation that he had at LSU. If barring those 2 things, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, he probably would have been a 2nd round, back end of the 1st round talent if he had a full resume to show to the league, to the NFL. All right, so that's going to do it for the just review of the draft. Let me know what you guys think down below. Did you like the draft? Did you like the moves Brad Holmes made? Do you like my new beard? I do. I think it looks silly, and I like it. So, let me know what you think down below. You can drop me a comment, maybe boost my ego a little bit. Riz me up, fellas! Anyway, that's going to be it for me. That has been the Hat and Beard Show for this week. Man, it was stressful heading into the draft. The draft is just a super stressful time. You guys seen it on the mock drafts. They were just whoo doggy. I was just stressing out, man. I was just stressing out left and right. But here we are, and we are ready to rip, roar, and rock and roll. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been attentive audience. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay out of trouble. Keep your stick on the ice. If you doesn't find you handsome, at least you find you handy. And frig off.